While he was doing
Chasing Taste has the down home taster, so he is sort of has a little cowboy hat and boots and
right.
As filmmakers, I think the strongest way to make a movie is to have some sort of core idea and have all of the characters and plot sort of be a reflection of that core idea, whether it's proof or a disproof of it. And in Chasing Taste, we tried to give every character a relationship towards finding their true self and what do they truly, what is their true passion? What should they be doing with their life? And our main character, Chase Guidry, he is a failed novelist, and his whole life was spent trying to get his work, his trilogy of books published, but it never worked. He never had the access he needed. And when he gets discovered as a food critic, he thinks, oh well, maybe I'll just do this food critic thing and that'll get my books published. But the deeper he gets into becoming a food critic, the further away he gets from his true passion, the more trouble he gets into.
Right. Be true to yourself is really,
Tell me how that fits.
And questions for both of you.
Oh, great.
Great. Well, I think, eating is one of the most pleasurable things we do in our lives. And yeah, food is really hot. You said it's on the Food Network. People are taking longer times at restaurants because they're taking pictures of their food and posting them on social media. And coming together for a meal is just an awesome thing. So celebrating food is one of the primary things we do in the movie.
Absolutely. Food is, I've been thinking about it, and food is home, and home is truth. And so much of the movie is about our character trying to figure out who he really is. And the journey of coming to yourself is no better. There's no better way to tell it than through a food metaphor. And and so the film has got great characters that are all have a crazy relationship to food, whether they're overeaters or they're hyperallergic or have super sensitive palates and smell and scent. Everybody's got a really distinct relationship to food, and placing it in the world of television networks and the sort of fast-growing food and chef phenomenon. We actually made up a game show for the TV for our film called the Palate Challenge, where food critics guess ingredients in food. Yeah.
How did it come?
Well, I think Chasing Taste is actually very unique in the way that it was made. We actually got together a group of people. I called up Sean and I said, I had this voice in my head that says we should make a movie together. And I
should have run. When people start telling you about voices in their heads, I should have.
Right. But instead what he said was, I love that voice in your head. And so we brought together people we love, and then he brought in our screenwriter, Lori Fisher, and she came up with the idea for Chasing Taste. She loves food. She's an award-winning playwright and screenwriter, and everything she writes somehow works food into the story.
Yeah.
And take it.
Yeah, sure. So so the inspiration for the character and the plot and all the locations actually came from our team. So we brought together our core cast. We sort of figured out where are our favorite places in New York City to shoot, and what do we want to see on film. And then we sat in a room and all told stories, and we heard the voices of all of our core crew, and then the writer wrote the screenplay for the people in those places. So there was no screenplay before we cast the film.
Right.
It was serendipitous that it was about that food was something we were passionate about, and it was so in the zeitgeist as we were making it. There were just an eruption of food blogs. You couldn't go to a New York restaurant without people taking pictures of their meal.
Right.
And so we really were just thrilled to tap into that. That was It was
Chasing Taste has the down-home taster, so he is sort of has a little cowboy hat and boots. And
when you have access to a sailboat, there's only one thing you can do with that, and that's exactly, throw somebody overboard. So so we figured we had to figure out a way to do that, and it was the perfect setting for a freak accident. So while we were shooting Chasing Taste, my cinematographer and I decided that we needed to have some really sexy food shots in the film. And we took it upon ourselves to eat our way through Manhattan. So we got up at the crack of dawn and went to Russ and Daughters in the Lower East Side and started with bagels and lox in the Lower East Side. And we
Right.
went to every one of our favorite restaurants, sneaking little shots with our little camera of all of the most amazing food we could possibly get our hands on.
Yes, this is my first film that I have ever produced, my first feature film. I've never done any shorts. I had actually co-authored a book with Lloyd Kaufman, who does a lot of B movies, The Toxic Avenger and all that, and I co-authored a book with him on producing movies. And once I did the book, I thought, well, if I wrote the book, I should do it. So this is what happened.
Yeah, and the title of the book was "Produce Your Own Damn Movie."
Yes, so that's what we did.
Yeah, went out and did it. Yeah. This is my feature directorial debut. So I'd never directed a feature before. I've worked on features and I've directed a bunch of shorts. With our writer as well, Lori Fisher. I directed a film called Dottie's Thanksgiving Pickle, which had Olympia Dukakis in it, and also Thanksgiving and food and.
Right.
So this was the culmination of a lot of collaboration with many of the core actors. We shot in the places that we knew we could. We tried to be really smart with our resources and make the film look 20 times bigger than it was, because we know how to make a movie. Let's put it in the greatest city on earth with the best background, the best set design that money can buy is New York City streets. So let's do that. And so I think we ended up with a film that is bigger than it's bigger than you would think.
Strong
Yeah.
production value.
And
Yeah.
I think in making Chasing Taste, in making independent film, it's blood, sweat, and tears. It's but if you're passionate about it, our family and friends knew that, and it takes a village to make a movie. It's like raising a child. I was saying last night, I was like, we got out of the terrible twos. I mean, there was never any, but it's just it's been nothing but an enjoyable experience. But you have to do it because you love it. There's just no other way. So, and we're thrilled to be here and see it at this stage.